have to do live upload. Thank you very much.
Okay, just a follow-up on a comment. You said, I think when she was presenting, she said it will give you a feedback afterwards. It will show you whether you've done the right thing or not. Am I right? Yeah, so does it only come in text or it comes in the other voice or other features, that feedback?
Okay, so currently that feedback is in text and voice. That's what we've tackled for now.
Okay, is there a plan to
yes,
do the feedback?
There's definitely a plan to involve other ones.
So you talked about the fact that you've got offline USSD plus dashboard features, right?
No, that wasn't our thing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first question.
Right.
Yeah, which I mentioned.
Okay.
But it's offline.
It's offline. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Team Veta, thank you very much, and please let's appreciate them as they take their seats. The next thing there. Okay, so you may respond to the questions. Please kindly pause when you are done with the first one so that we can, if there is a follow-up.
All right, thank you. So the first question was, how do we know that people know about climate change? So before we started with our project, right, we conducted a survey. So we basically had a Google form, prepared a Google form, and then sent it out to mainly 14 participants in about 4 different universities in the country. So we sent the forms to students in the University of Ghana, KNUST, All Nations University, and Academic City College, right? And then it turned out that so we asked a particular question, right? If any of the participants or any of those answering the service, right, generally had any idea about climate change, not necessarily any structured knowledge about climate change, but just any idea about climate change. And then it turned out about 70% out of the 14 people that answered the survey actually responded in the positive, that they did know about climate change, and some even, and in the subsequent questions that followed up, right, some even expressed the fact that they did know some of the causes of climate change and some of the effects that it has on our environment and so on and so forth.
Okay, so what you are saying does not go with the statement you made that all young people. Okay, so if that is a research you've done, that should lead what you say. So because when you make these statements, I'm forced to ask, where did you find these facts? You understand? We have something called invisible customer or user. So imagine you have this mindset and you are making an app. You are not specific. You go and do it for everyone. And at the end of the day, the app becomes unusable or it doesn't satisfy the claim you are making. I hope you understand. So you put it in context.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hold on for a follow-up. Also, one of your team members made mention of software and application. What are the difference? What's the difference between a software and an application? It was mixing it. One of you went talking.
So software and application can be used interchangeably. I think it was just in the heat of a moment statement.
So are you trying to say it's the same thing?
So for the context of our solution, it is the same thing, but a software goes beyond a physical mobile application. It can be a website as well. But with application, it's usually used in the context of either a web application or a mobile application.
So the difference between a software and an application is the same thing, right?
For the context of our presentation, yes.
Yes, so respond to your other questions, or you are done? You have two more.
All right, so the next question was the plan for driving people to use the app. And the features we have on the app are XPs, missions, and some games during the lesson stage. And so consider an example. Let's use Legon Hall. So Legon Hall has multiple blocks, and maybe the hall president could organize something like a hall competition. Let's say clean this part, clean this part. Now the community hero feature, as part of one of the features, is going to make this halls participate in this challenge that the hall president has placed across. So you have block A, block B, block C, block D. Everyone is going to score a point for whatever they do, and then they submit their whatsoever that they've done to the leader, and then he's able to award points on all that. And so this is actually going to motivate them to do more, because even at the end of every semester, these halls do end of block parties, and then blocks are awarded for or they are awarded for some achievements that they've made. Yes, and one of these is part of them. Yes.
Now that's exactly what I was afraid of, that we're doing these apps for our university community, and that's why I wanted you to answer that question about how are you going to get the wider community. The app is not for just the university. How are you going to get people to use the app so that it actually delivers value?
So it's not only university-based. So when you go into our community tab, there's an option to create a community where it's also selected based on the location you are in. So you can create groups which will then be under that community, and then the participation is also different. It's not necessarily about the university. Yeah, so members of the group will be people found in your location and not necessarily just the university space. Yeah.
Okay, your final response.
So we're just asked to, so our third question asks us to clarify specifically what the community hero is, right? So the community hero is basically a person, right? Anyone who has, a single person who has access to any mobile device, being a tablet, a mobile phone, right? And that particular person can serve to provide access of our software, right, to people who do not have mobile devices, basically. So a community hero is one who is going to serve more or less as a form of accountability partner, right, to people who are not privileged enough to have access to mobile devices. So people without devices can also find, or people with without mobile devices, right, have the opportunity to partake in all activities which are in our software, right, via the community hero. So more or less, the community hero is more or less like a representative in that person's or that individual's given area or location for all individuals without a mobile device to also be included in the use of our software or application.
Okay, so practically, what does that look like? Does the person belong to a club where other people don't have mobile devices, or do they have a party and then invite people to come over and then they have, I'm just trying to understand the practical aspect.
So not necessarily that a club has to be formed, right, which has people who are not privileged to have mobile phones as members, but it could basically be like a teacher, right, in a school, for example, a primary school, right, children as young as 3-4 years in rural areas don't have access to mobile phones. Definitely, you have teachers who have access to those phones, and due to that privilege, right, they can actually have their kids on board, right, in the use of our app or our software solution.
Okay, team therapists, thank you so much Shall we appreciate them as they take their seats? We'll take the last thing, Team Yami.
All right, thank you very much. And we are Team Yami. I will start with the third question, which you asked about our name, the meaning of our name and all that. So the team name is Yami, which is an Ewe name, which means weather. But the project name is Green Path, which means that it's just describing our path to sustainable climate. And then the next one, which is the 120 topics. So our team clearly handled all these 120 topics. We categorized them into 10 categories, ranking them in order of difficulties that we think. And then we also have in-course quizzes that motivate users. And at the end of each particular quiz, users get SP. They can share that on social media to attract attention to the app. And then we also have games that are connected to this particular courses that motivate our users to go forth and back with the game and the courses as well. And then finally, the question about how visually impaired people use the app. For the visually impaired people, we realized that, and from our mentors during the bootcamp, we realized that the actual problem that they face is they have problem with maybe images, and they have problem with maybe videos and all this stuff. So we took all these things into account, and we realized that when we're demoing our app, when it comes to image, when visually impaired or accessibility mode is toggled, users have the opportunity to click on any part of the app and it describe the text, describe the image as well, and also tell the state of the section of the app that has been clicked. So that is how we actually handle the visually impaired section of it.
Okay, so is it a mobile app or a web app?
Yes, it's a mobile app, but it's a cross-platform mobile app.
But the link indicating here clearly shows it's a web, or you are pointing it to a specific server.
Yes, so the cross-platform that I'm talking about here, we have the web-based, we have the iOS-based, and then we have the Android-based. But for this particular demo, we just quickly deploy the web app so that we can have access to the web section. But we have access to the Android as well as the iOS version of code.
Okay, so what language was used precisely?
Please come again.
What languages were used for both the mobile web, the mobile and web application?
All right. So our architecture comes in 3 different formats, which is the UI, which is making use of TypeScript. The backend is making use of Node.js, and then the AI part is making use of Python specifically. And then finally, the database is making use of Postgres for better scalability.
So my follow-up, you mentioned features in your app and some of the Chaskele, the local games that we used to. I wanted to know typically how it works, because you mentioned them and I didn't know how it will work to solve this climate, how climate relevant it is, and other features. How maybe if somebody has mobility issues, can do Chaskele and other things. So if you can highlight on that, because I was interested in the games you mentioned.
Yes, so thank you so much for this question. So to start with one of the games, Echo Pilolo. In a normal Ghanaian sense, Pilolo is a game about finding something. So we hide 3 stakes and are supposed to find them. In this game, what we are finding, we are using images. So it allows you to use your camera to look for something based on the criteria we give you. So let's say you take a photo of a Piotr rubber in a gutter, and it's like a hand. So we time you, so whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you are supposed to look for that particular thing within that specified time range. And what makes our app unique is when it comes to a game like the Yami word puzzle, named after our team, when people are unable to solve the puzzle, it connects them to a particular lesson in the 120 lessons for which that word was gotten to create that puzzle. So if it's about greenhouse effect and the person is not able to solve the puzzle in 5 minutes or in a particular time frame, they are routed back to take the course or the lesson on greenhouse effect. And this is what helps us when it comes to the games.
Okay, Team Yame, thank you so much. Please, let's appreciate them as they take their seats. Mr. MC, you can take over once we have